Right, my name's Dave. Welcome back to the Honda Hornet Café Racer build. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, press the notifications bell, all of that. I'll be doing these videos and getting one out every week on a Wednesday unless something goes wrong, but then you can follow us on Instagram and there'll be notifications on there and other little bits and pieces. So what I'm going to do today is do the seat, try and get that mounted, or this time anyway. So what I've done is I have cut a piece of scrap and I'm going to make a bracket to fit in there, bend that so it bolts into there, and then I've got this fox eye latch. Pull the cable, and I'll make a new pin for that, which I'll weld onto there, so that will then drop onto there and lock the seat in place. I've got a longer cable to reroute that, so that'll be on a piece of plate between the frame of the bike. I don't know if this is all going to work. I've got to make a little mounting plate for the front there. As you can see, I've cut this open to get a better fit, and I'm going to be fiberglassing up at the front. I still think this is going to be easier than just completely making a new seat unit, but may end up and changing it yet. So I'm going to try and get that mounted up, see what it looks like, and then I'll see how much space I need, because I've got to get under the seat the battery, obviously, main fuse, the flasher relay, the CDI unit, possibly the regular rectifier, which I might be able to leave where it was originally. It's pretty much covered by the tank, so that might not go underneath. So the biggest item is this, the CDI unit. That is the thickest, so if I can get that in, I know I can get everything else in. Right, so that clearly wasn't going to work, but it's okay, it's worth trying these things, you never know. It's only a bit of scrap. But I've tried the seat base on the bike again, and it seems to flex about a little bit. So what I've decided to do is I've marked out this plate here, which will fasten onto there. From there to there is actually flat, and it sits onto that, so it'll make it a bit more rigid, and it'll have a tongue on it which sticks out, which will slide under the tank mount, hopefully. So I'll cut that out. Might seem a bit heavy duty, but I could always cut it away, take some out the middle. I haven't decided yet. It's cold in here tonight. I've cut this out and drilled it so it's ready to go on to here. I'll bolt that on and then try it on the bike. I'm already not that keen, it's quite heavy, but I might be able to cut that piece off. I like my original idea, and maybe cut this piece off and use that and just get rid of all that middle bit. So I will bolt that on. Right, so I've got the seat, so that will fast tuck under there. That's my theory. Now that fits quite nice. Needs trimming to shape around there, but I'm not worried about that. It looks like these pieces are going to have to be cut off, but that fits quite nicely under there. It could do with coming up so that metal is sat on the frame, so that is lovely and solid, and I've got room to trim that to shape of the seat. So like I said, I think I'm going to cut that plate. I'll probably cut these pieces off and then fiberglass where the tank comes down, fiberglass in to finish off the seat. But then this will all be okay. Underneath that leaves a nice mounting point to put the latch on, so it would be a case of seat in and down, and then the cable to pull to release it. What I've done is just bent a little bit of scrap so that I can bend this the same, and that's on the frame there. That would be perfect to just tuck under there. So if I bend that the same angle as that, that should just sit under there nicely. Put that back in position, and to get that like that, you watch it, bend it on that line and that line. So after much hammering and banging, I've done this, which, once it's on the seat, will fit lovely just under there. Needs to be cleaned up a little bit. Someone's been bashing it with a hammer, but that sits in there nice and tight. So I'm going to bolt that back on, and we'll see what that looks like. Right, so that's bolted on, and you can see those bits are probably just going to need cutting off, and I'll make that right with the fiberglass. But that slides under there, and the line, and that is pretty good. A little bit of slack along there, which I've got a plan just to put some cushioning on, and maybe a little bit along the top of the top tubes or on the bottom of the seat frame. But that basically, that is sitting lovely and flat and nice and rigid. So next thing is to get the latch and get that under there so that latch is in. But I think I'll just cut a strip, leave that as a strip. That seems pretty rigid. I'll probably just cut that off there and round all that off, cut a little V out. Okay, it's another day and it's a lot warmer morning this morning. So we've got the front catch for the seat done, and I've just got to do the rear latch. So after much faffing about, what I decided to do, I tried 2 or 3 different things, and I went back to my original idea. I just went for a slightly less severe bend, and I've drilled that fastens to the bottom of the seat. That bolt that I've got to finish yet, but that goes in there, so that fastens to the bottom of the seat, and then this plate will weld between the frame, the latch will sit on it, and then that'll slide into the latch. I'll trim that to length once it's done, so the latch goes on there. There'll be a little groove in cut at the right height. When you pull the cable, it slides off, the seat slides off. Didn't bother recording all of this, in truth, I just forgot to turn the camera on. But do people want to see me bending loads of bits of metal over and over, welding things, grinding things. If you do, let me know, and I'll maybe record more. If you don't, let me know, and I might put less in. It's nice to see how things are done, but I'm sure everybody knows how to bend a bit of metal and drill a couple of holes. Right, so next we're going to mount this on the bottom of the seat and then get it welded to the frame, and that will be the seat mounting done. So here we go. So I've got to get the latch and the plate in the right place underneath. As you can see, the bolt's in. It's not welded in yet, but it's there. So this latch will go on there, like that, and this is what it'll be bolted to, and that is to fit in between there. Okay, so what I've decided to do with this, it's rather than welding a captive nut, because it's quite thick, I've drilled it and I'm going to tap it so I can just bolt straight into it. When you're going to tap something, you have to drill a hole. Make sure you drill your holes nice and square. A drill press or a bench drill is far better than doing it by hand. But what you need to do is, you have a book like this. There's a couple of different ones about. You find out the tapping sizes. You get to know these anyway. So you look up in the book, see that, and it's the size of the thread. So a normal M6 is a 1mm pitch. So the recommended tapping size is 5.6mm. So get your drill, measure it with a micrometer or a vernier, get an accurate right measurement, and this is 5.6. If your drills are newer, you won't have a problem. If they're like mine, they've all skidded and you can't see what size they are. So drill it, and it is ready for tapping. Then you can tap that out with a bit of lubricant, and I can bolt straight into that. Just a little thing. I'm sure everybody knows all this. Latch is done. That latch is bolted to a piece of metal, the hole in it. So that now will fit on there, and that just needs welding in to there, and that allows my clearance to get a plate underneath for the electrics tray, and it'll just go straight underneath that. So I have to mark where the latch actually hits it, which is like there. So I'll cut a groove in there, and then that will get chopped off at the right length, the new point put on it. Then I'll put all that back in and check it. So I've cut a little groove in there, just put that in to hold it still because it's not welded in place yet. So now that slides onto there and clicks in place. That's nice and solid. So that just needs welding. I've allowed a little bit of slack to allow for some rubbers to go on there to just give it a little bit of cushioning, but that just needs welding in place. And then you'd have to pull the little lever that slides off, and the seat goes up. The seat is on. It'll be easier when there's a little bit of cable on here. Pull that latch and off it comes. Yes, I noticed I hadn't cleaned up the bit of metal bar and it is all rusty. That's probably why the weld didn't want to go on. So I'll clean that up and I'll weld that in, and I'll check everything, and that then I can put the cable on just temporarily. But that is it. And that's nice and solid. Pull the cable, releases the latch, seat comes off. So that is pretty good. Seat needs the seat needs a bit of strengthening. It's a bit flimsy. I'll probably fasten that up a bit tighter, cut them pieces off and fiberglass that, but that's for another time. I know that it's all in, and that needs cutting down to the right length. So that's it for this time. Next time I'll be getting the metal under tray in, so I'll have to have the cable ready because once it clips in I won't be able to unclip it. So metal under tray to get the electrics. I've had a quick look. The cable run will come under the tank, under here, round here, battery, CDR unit, main fuse. Flash unit may replace anyway with something smaller. So there isn't a great deal of electrics to get in there. It'll be nice and tidy. That's it for today. Video out on a Wednesday. Every Wednesday with the videos. If you want any more info, go to our Instagram. There's always bits and little bits extra on there. Like, subscribe. People are watching, not subscribing. Please subscribe. And yeah, next time we'll continue with the electrics tray. But for now, I've got loads of tidying up to do again. Trouble with working in a small garage. But it shows it can be done with very little tools. See you next time.